Hey, everybody, welcome to Review with Me, your review guide of shows, movies, and everything in between. Be sure to click the like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get on with this review. I love it. All right, you guys, welcome back to another Review with Me episode. We are reviewing the last episode of this season of The Never Ever Mets. Season 2, this is episode 11. Look at the screen. Sorry, just putting my teeth. Look at the screen. This is the look of a regretful season, of a regretful time, regretful decision making, all of the above. Everybody here looks a mess. Maybe not so much with Tati. Brit's look is not too bad, but just in general, their attitudes just stink. Let's get into it, y'all. So we start off this reunion episode with Irvin. I forgot all about Irvin and Alicia, y'all. And I especially forgot about Alicia with that wig. Irvin says, "Hi, Alicia." Irvin, again, I have an aversion towards Haitian men. So I'm coming from a bias standpoint. Absolutely. And as a Haitian woman, I can say that. Or a woman of Haitian parents, if you want to be technical. The point is, Irvin, please stop talking. Him starting off by saying hi, Alicia, like obviously aware that the way they ended things was tense, and just like their overall dynamic wasn't a healthy one. So him saying hi, Alicia, the way that he did, it felt like he was taunting her. And I am not Team Alicia. I did not like her either, but both of them is the problem. We learn that Irvin is still in a relationship. I wonder if he is still with his ex, who he told Alicia that hit him up after a while, and he's talking about he sorry has a sign from God, some BS. Please don't bring God to our relationship. Yes, I said it. Please do not bring God to our relationship. All of a sudden, you caring about the signs and the wonders, you're convicted, all of this. I don't want to hear it. Handle that with God. Don't bring it. Don't bring him in it. This is between me and you. Because I feel like, and I'm saying this facetiously, but I'm also keeping it real because I feel like a lot of y'all like to use God as a crutch instead of just standing on your own two stand, your own 2 feet, your own two legs. What the saying is, stand on it. For Irvin, he wanted to leave Alicia because she was toxic. And that was absolutely enough. That would have sufficed. But no, he had to dig into her a little bit more and say, I felt like God was showing me that my ex-girlfriend, you guys became an ex for a reason. So why all of a sudden my ex-girlfriend is the one who I should be with? Then just be with her. God was telling me, no, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. Anyway, so we get to Alicia. Alicia was gaslighting yet again. Jay is calling her out. Jay, we learned throughout this reunion, she did not favor well with most of the women in the house. A lot of them felt like she was rude and just stank overall. That's the best way to describe it. And you could see that. I'm totally not surprised by that. She reacted, or she just behaved very competitive. Like, first of all, do you win extra money for being the last couple standing? Or I mean, sure, maybe you do because you get paid more stipend money compared to other couples who may leave. But the point is it was not a competition show. It was not win as many rounds as you can and you get this bonus or that bonus or this incentive. It's not one of those shows. But Jay came into it very competitively, very smug. Like, girl, we get it. You and Cinco have a strong relationship in comparison to the others. But don't forget how all y'all got here. Y'all all got here because you decided to virtually date someone for a few months without seeing them in person. So, so Jay calls out Alicia for being wrong in her way of behaving. And I thought it was interesting how all the other girls thought Alicia was right. Cuz Alicia's talking about, am I right? Am I wrong, ladies? Am I wrong? And everyone's like, "No, girl, you're not wrong." Just echoing Alicia's foolishness. And this is why I could support Jay in this moment, even though I didn't like her either. I felt like she was rude throughout the show and she came off very competitive for no reason. I like that Jay could stand on her own and say, "No, I don't agree with you. No, I think you were a bitch and you have some fault to accept." Did y'all notice the host, Taronda? She just looked uncomfortable. I'm not here to call someone out of the closet, but I think there's something happening there, or something been happening there, or she just, not keeping it um to the public's business or whatever. But I say that because her wearing that dress, that was the most feminine she's looked since we've met her. Y'all peep that? Because all her other looks, she's wearing a top hat. She's wearing a suede suit. She's doing all these extra looks to appear as the butch in the relationship. You know what I mean? And, to each their own. I'm not here to judge, but I'm just saying, her wearing that gown, that ball gown, it just felt like she was in a wrong suit. Like, it felt like she was trying to fit in a box. And I just wish she would have just stayed with her typical attire that we've been accustomed to since season 1. Tarana does say that Alicia has been misleading when it comes to her actions. And Alicia made it clear that, look, in previous relationships, I would behave the same way, right? I wouldn't advocate for myself and be consistent in my speech, because she's referring to the time when Alicia said, when Irvin spoke to Alicia and called her out on her behavior when Alicia decided to do yoga with Brandon, but denied doing any type of physical activity with Irvin, the person who she's been dating virtually for the past few months. And in that conversation, Alicia said, "I'm feeling unsafe right now." All of the triggering words that would make any man want to distance themselves from you, because you're not going to pin anything on me, right? You're not going to pin anything on me. I'm going to step away and back off. And as Irvin was backing off, Alicia was saying, "No, but come here though. Give me a hug. Come here though." So it is misleading. It absolutely is. And I was glad that Taronda called Alicia out. We get to Tati and Clay. Tati and Clay. First of all, Clay looked like he lost some weight, so shout out to him. He doesn't look as swollen as he did throughout the season. So he's looking better. Tati her boobs look great. Hello? Her chest looks amazing. Her chest. It's like a man. No, but her upper body looks great. Clay says he grew from the experience. Tati's rolling her eyes because she's quick to discourage anything about Clay. She wants to talk shit all about him, right? But Clay's being positive. He's looking at it from a growth mindset, and that's really commendable. I really do believe what Clay is saying. So I think it's genuine. They reference the hug slash hug gate. If you know what I'm talking about. So remember the episode when Clay's best friend, his best female friend, I don't believe in the term best friend because what are we talking about? What are we talking about with best friend? What do we, especially at your grown age, what are we talking about best friend? What? So his female best friend comes to the house and she jumps on him and give him this big hug, right? But when they played the video back, they made the point to say that when the other castmates who didn't actually see the hug, when they improvised, or not improvised, when they reenacted what they assumed was the hug, they made it more than what it was. Okay. Yes, this female best friend of Clay did hug him, right? You're not necessarily banned from hugging your opposite sex now that he's in a relationship, right? Her legs wasn't wrapped around him around the waist like a lot of these cast members reenacted as if they saw it for themselves. They made it more than what it was, which of course pushed the battery in Tati's back. So they kind of laughed it off. Even Taronda, the host, she was trying to clarify, yeah, I think y'all made it more than what it was. Clay stood down on business and said, I didn't think the hug was bad. But all of the women, I can't remember how Jay reacted, but all of the women was saying, all of the women were saying, no, it was still bad. It was disrespectful, yada yada yada. So we move on to Chris telling Clay how to talk to Tati. I don't know what was going on here, but we see kind of insinuations between Chris and Tati. So I guess I never, maybe there were some things in the house that gave the impression that that Chris and Tati have a little bond, but nonetheless, Chris is appearing as if he's feeling Tati, and Tati is not closing the door. Chris tells Clay, you gotta talk to Tati gentle. You gotta talk to her gentle. Like, first of all, Chris, worry about Alexis. We get to Tati talking about how she has a roster. And then Chris mumbles to whoever was sitting next to him. He says, he's on the roster. He's like, I guess I'm on the roster. So what was that about? And I wish Toronto would have caught that and exposed that, but maybe he was just joking. Who knows? Tati asked Clay if he had a girlfriend just yesterday, just the day before they came on this reunion show. And he said no then. But when Taronda asked Clay, are you seeing anyone? Do you have a girlfriend? He says, yes, I do. So Tati just did that to, of course, expose him and make him look bad because she still feels some type of way against him, which I feel like is petty, but we're here in the reunion. Why not? We get to Britt and Ty. Britt's still sitting there with no neck. Ty talking about how he thought expectations would have been reciprocated, right? He thought it would have been an equal relationship. What? What makes you think that, huh? It's all about the woman. I'm being sarcastic because I don't agree with that, but I'm being honest in the sense that that is a common dynamic amongst heterosexual relationships, right? You are operating in the context of happy wife, happy life. And I've been on here talking about y'all how it's not about that. It's about happy spouse, happy house, right? It's about both parties in the relationship being happy and their needs being met. That's how we should approach it. So we get to Britt, and she's talking about how she didn't want him kissing on her. She didn't want things to be sexual. She didn't want any type of affection with Ty. But Ty is saying how that doesn't make any sense to me because you would react kindly whenever I would try to kiss you. At times, you would receive it. And basically, he felt misled. And I feel like I can understand what Britt is saying, right? Sometimes you get caught up as women, right? Just the conditioning of women in our society, and not to make it all philosophical or whatever, but like the point is, this is a common experience for many women, especially if you're not at a point in your life when you realize that this is something you have to unlearn. Women have been taught for many years to be nice, just go with the flow. You don't have a right to say no, right? You don't have a right to state your boundaries. Like the whole language of boundaries just came into our lexicon a year ago. So it is unfortunate that you have a grown woman who's a mother. She's unable to communicate and stay consistent with her personal boundaries. But what I can give her grace on is the fact that she's just now learning this and she's just now realizing that this is a pattern with her. Same with Alicia, that she doesn't advocate for herself enough. That sometimes she'll betray her own boundaries because it's the nice thing to do. And she even talked about this on one of the previous episodes. Yeah, it was that episode when she was sparing Ty's feelings at the table when they were playing the game, and she was asked a direct question: do you see a sexual compatibility with Ty? And instead of saying an honest response, but delivering it in a way that doesn't um come off hurtful, she paused, she took forever, she kind of laughed it off awkwardly, and it made matters worse. So I think for Britt, she needs to work on her vocal ability, right? She needs to work on saying what she means and meaning what she says. And that will help her along the way. I really do think that, especially when you are just realizing that in your womanhood, you now figure out the language that you need to use to really stand on business. Jay didn't like Britt because Britt doesn't say hi. That's what I wrote down. That's and I feel like, and Britt clarified this. And look, I'm not trying to be no. What I'm saying is Jay acts like she's so um above it all, right? Like she can't speak. Like she can't greet others. She just acts very stank. That's the best way to describe her. Britt explained it as, you come into a room, you greet other people. Like that's how you're supposed to be brought up, or that's typically how you're brought up, right? You walk into a room, you address everyone who's already in the room, right? And that's just natural. But with Jay, it appears as if she goes out of her way to not speak to people when she enters a room. And maybe that's just amongst women, because there are some women, and I feel like that could be it. I feel like Jay is like that. I think she's someone who probably doesn't care to befriend women. And Britt kind of made that point. She says it seems like it looks like you don't have a lot of female friends. And I could bet that that's the case with Jay. I could bet that that is the case with Jay. Absolutely. Even Charlie came in and attested to this. She said, "No, but Jay, you did walk into a room and you didn't say anything, and you do that. And the first time I met you, you did that, and then the next few times you did that. You know what I mean?" So I think Jay, she has her guard up when it comes to women. There's some mother hurt there if we want to put a therapy bag mix in that, but I do think there's something there. So we get to a game time, and we can't have a reunion show without a game. So Taronda says, who's the most peaceful person, or who's the peacemaker? Cinco got the most votes. And then we got to the question, the messy question. If you could do a do over with a new partner from anyone in this cast, who would it be? And I wrote down the best ones. Jared said he would do a do over with Alicia so he could gaslight her right back. I love Jerry, y'all. He could do no wrong in my eyes. It is what the fuck it is. Jerry was sitting there. Sometimes he looked bored. Sometimes he looked very entertained. I think maybe it's the editing, but I think he's just a little what's the word? I don't want to say ADHD. I don't want to diagnose him, right? I don't want to diagnose him. But it just seemed like he just needed something to be attentive with. And there were times when he just wasn't engaged. Like he was kind of over it. And obviously, he and Charlie were saved for last. They were saved for last. And you know the saying, best for last. But I feel like their segment was pretty lackluster. Brandon has a crush on Charlie, it looks like. And Charlie was kind of flirting back. Toronto was trying to ask Jared, how do you feel about it? How you feel about it? He's like, it's life. It's fine. It's life. And it's just kind of unfortunate because I think Jared looks at life very jaded. So when he responded in that way, I wasn't surprised. Clay is visibly upset at this point because prior to this, he sees that Chris has some sort of affection for Tati and he wants to address it. We know that Cinco and Jay are still together, but Jay is actually, as we know, he's an international basketball player. So he actually left the reunion a little bit early and he may get signed. I think he said Russia. So, but they're still together. They still have a relationship and we'll see how things go or we won't. I mean, I really don't care. Let's see. Cinco is very level-headed. He says eventually he will marry Jay. But I think that question kind of came off. Okay, what do you want to do? We get it. It's a dating show. It's a relationship show. So I'm, of course, this is a natural question to ask. But I fear that because Cinco didn't respond with an emphatic yes, I will marry Jay with a set plan and all that stuff, I fear that he's going to be seen as non-committal or maybe not too non-committal because he was pretty pushing commitment with her. But I just feel like because if you're not coming across with a nice script in response to a question like that, it's going to look bad. He gives Jay flowers consistently. He says he visits her monthly because, she's in Chicago. He met her fam. They received him well. I wrote down, because he gives Jay flowers consistently and showers her with love in different ways. Jared, Jamie Foxx, he's doing this. He's like, he's doing that, the whole money signal. And it was so funny to me because Jared, not to shade him because, I love it. I love Jared, but I think he's a little brokey. And it's okay. It's totally fine. But he's alluded to that before. And we get some more of that in this episode here because Charlie talks about, again, I wasn't looking to Jared to raise my kid, to pay me money, or I make good money. Girl, Charlie, nobody gives a damn. You make good money, you still look like how you looking. Black queen, that's what you looking like. But okay. We get to Alexis and Chris. Chris, again, talks about how he does not want to be seen as a sexual object. And that was what Alexis was making him feel like. We get back to Jared. Jared reveals the only sexual encounter Chris and Alexis had was, I guess there was an event. There was an encounter that they had in the shower. But that was interesting because none of that was shared during the season. Like, none of that was shown. Alexis had to self-evaluate and really think to herself, does she want to be with someone like Chris? Because yes, they ended the season saying yes to each other, but she had to think to herself, does she want to be with someone like Chris? Because Chris has a lot of trauma. He has a lot of triggers. And then in that moment, because what Alexis was saying was absolutely correct. I totally agree with her. Chris is a lot to handle. He's always referencing his 8-10 step parents he had throughout his upbringing. He's referencing how he had to have his own apartment when he was in 9th grade. All this struggle shit. I don't give a damn. What are you doing now? I don't want to hear too much about your past. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just not meant to be in. I don't know, but I don't care. I don't care too much. I don't care for too long. I don't care for the amount of times you plan to tell me this. Like, you're always referencing your 8 step parents. I don't give a damn. Figure it out. What are you doing about it? Stop talking to me about your past. I can't change it. Can you change your past? Have we figured out a way to change our past? Let me know. But I'm totally with it. But the whole time, Chris is like already defensive. That's how you know he's still struggling with his past. The fuck you? Why are you defensive? I don't want to deal with your shit. And she said it as nice as she could. The old me would have been like, I don't want to deal with it. It's too much. Shit, maybe not even the old me, the current me right now, at this time. Chris is talking about, what do you mean by triggers? What do you mean by triggers? And you see his face getting even deep, his voice getting even deeper, his face looking all crunched up. Nigga, this triggers you talk about all the time. That's what I'm talking. The triggers you're always referring to. Your 8 step parents throughout your life. That's the trigger. So I hate someone who talks about their past, who's stuck on nostalgia, who's stuck on yada yada. Clay is still bothered because he's still ruminating on how Chris is feeling Tati. But sir, you got a girlfriend, you said. You say you have a girlfriend. What are we doing? You don't own Tati. We got to Kiki and Brandon. Brandon's cheesing mad hard. That's what I wrote down. I forgot for what. Why did he cheese mad hard? I don't know. Oh, it was just okay. It was just a time when it was their package that it was time for them to like unpack in this episode. And he's sitting there like, sir, act like you've been on TV before. Act like you've been on TV before, Brandon. Jared's cracking up over the drinking clip. What I mean by that is, remember the time when Kiki said, I'm not. It's kind of funny to think about it because Brandon's like, Brandon's telling Kiki, you drink too much. You're an alcoholic. It's so wild to say. You're an alcoholic. You're drinking too much, right? And he's like, look at you. He's like, look at you. You're drinking right now. You're drinking right now. And then Kiki says, I'm not even into wine. I'm not even drinking. Okay, I'm sorry. Yo, no, that's hilarious. Actually, I get why Jared was cracking up. And he was cracking up like the way I just did. Like, eyes glossy, head tilting back, still looking like Jamie Foxx. Golly. So we get to what I wrote down. Okay, so we get the whole best friend gate. So Charlie and Jared. Now we get to their package. Charlie again talk about she felt so misled and confused. I don't get it. Just like I said last episode, I don't get it. I don't get why she feeling confused. If a man is making you feel confused, that's enough of a sign. That's clarity for me. Because it's either yes or it's no. Men are more of a decision maker than women. I know for me at least. Well, I mean, depending on the man. Because even sometimes when I talk to Freckles Bay about like, oh, what do you want to eat? Or it's like, oh, whatever you want. What do you want? Make the decision now. Have the order ready. Where do you want to sit? Figure it out. Yo, I don't know if he's watching this, so love you. Anyway, so Charlie is talking about that. She felt like he wasn't honest the whole time with her. Okay, whatever, Charlie. Anything to make her look like a victim, anything to make her look like she has no accountability. Girl, you are in control of your life. You have the choice to decide whatever you wanted to do. At any point, you could have said, Jared, I need you to tell me yes or no. And if you can't tell me yes or no, then that's enough for me to walk away. But we get it. You're on the show as long as you can be because the check. Jared said good sex checks a lot of the boxes that normally wouldn't be checked. Jared can't do any wrong in my eyes. He cannot do any wrong in my eyes. Why am I? Oh, he's so toxic. No. He is to the book. I'm making up my own sayings, but he's straightforward, is what I'm trying to say. He's straightforward. You can't miss what he's saying unless you're intentionally being obtuse. And that's what I think is happening with Charlie. She knows what it is with Jared. You know deep inside. You can't make someone want to be with you. Take it for what it is and have fun. Like Tati was doing. Charlie keeps saying she doesn't need a man to take care of her kids. That's what I wrote down. You need a man to take care of you. Because apparently you said you have all the money in the world. You live in a 5-bedroom house. Yada, yada, yada. Okay. You need a man to take care of you. Because that's what it sounded like. But she doesn't want to say that outright. Charlie's still looking confused. Says she still loves Jared and plans to remove the tattoo. And Jared responds, thank you for finally. No. Sorry, I got it wrong. I don't know what Jared said in response. I didn't write that down. But Charlie said in response to whatever Jared said, thank you for finally being honest. Because I guess Jared must have said something about like, you're my best friend. I just want to be friends or whatever, some BS. And then she says, thank you for finally being honest. Or was it he? Who said that? I wish I would have wrote that. I'm sorry, y'all. Who said that? Let me know in the comments below. Who said that? Thank you for finally being honest. Was it Jared or was it Charlie? Nonetheless, Jared said something at the end, and that made Charlie feel confused. Oh, Jared said something like, oh, you can call me anytime, right? I'm here for you. I'm there for you. And Charlie's like, see, this is what I'm talking about. It's so confusing. What? What? Confused about. He said, you can always count on me. Here's the thing. I notice with men, they don't cut people off. They really don't. Unless you do them dirty, they don't cut you off. Okay? They will have a friend to the end. Unlike us women, especially myself, call me Scissors. That's my name. Call me Scissors. I'm quick to cut someone off. Working on it, maybe not. But the point is, women are more likely to cut people off because we are emotional. We're emotional. We're hormonal. That's a hard word. We're hormonal. Oh my gosh. Sorry, y'all. Anyway, the point is, we're quick to cut people off. But men, they're not. They're not. You're going to be their friend till the end. So him saying, you can call me whenever, I'm proud of you, whatever he said. And her being confused, she's not looking at it from the perspective of a man. And even if he was trying to like mislead her, Charlie, you are in control of your life. Charlie, let me break it to you. You have free will. Yes, you have free will, Charlie. You can do whatever you choose. You are not succumb to the misleading of Jared. Even if and when he's being confusing, you could stop it right there and not give into it. Anyway, y'all, that is it. That's all. That's the reunion. There is no part 2. I'm glad they ended it here. That was it. Let me know what you think about this season. Leave in the comments down below. Let me know what you think about this reunion, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.